Flexing that ankle.
Golly, this late in the game, you do not want to see.
This time, Clark's injury has fans not only worried but also incensed because it's not just a bump or bruise. It's her second injury of the season, and depending on how serious it is, she may be sidelined for some time. However, what really irritates fans is how preventable this entire situation was.
Stephanie White has now got questions to answer.
Because this is a cumulative effect that extends beyond a single play and has been developing over the season as a result of decisions made by the Fever, the referees, and the opposing players. There is serious concern now not only for Caitlin Clark's health but also for her career and, consequently, for the success of the entire WNBA, as we have already seen what happens when she is not on the court. Caitlin Clark is not being protected as she should be, neither physically nor strategically, by those who should understand exactly what she means to the game. Demand for dip tickets plummets. Let's talk about what happened, why fans are upset with Stephanie White, and the massive errors that add up to what could be the biggest blown opportunity in sports history. First, like this video and leave a heart in the comments section to wish Caitlin a full recovery. The excitement flatlines that humble pie moment after her last absence. The league is about to get another extra-large slice.
Boston hands it off as Clark's back in. She goes down. And midcourt and flexing that ankle.
Golly, this late in the game, you do not want to.
Caitlin Clark seemed to injure her groin during the play against the Storm, and as a result, she is officially out for an indefinite amount of time. Stephanie White phoned her on a daily basis.
Caitlin, when did you guys find out about this groin injury, and how much of an absence do you expect from her beyond today?
Yeah, late last night. I think it's very much a day-to-day thing, how she responds to treatment.
The Fever fans have heard that before.
How is she doing? Is there any timeline for her return?
Yeah, she's doing well. She's doing well. Again, no timeline. I think it's day-to-day, and for us to just make sure that we're continuing to be supportive of DB.
Fans no longer believe Stephanie White's press conference responses, so it appears that this may go any way. Dana had asked to sit out since she wasn't actually on the team's daily schedule.
Like, it's one of two things. It's either it's groin tightness and she'll be back for the Commissioner's Cup game. She's probably going to miss these next two games. Or it's a groin strain and she's out for the All-Star game. Like, it's one of those two, and there's no in between.
And there is evidence to support the idea that Caitlin should miss a significant amount of time due to this injury, even if it is minor. This isn't because fans want it, but rather because the pattern is becoming more difficult to ignore. There is obviously a connection between all of these injuries, and nothing seems to be completely resolved.
But I think we're getting into territory now where it is not, I don't think it's a good idea to just chance it. I don't think it's a good idea to put pressure on yourself to perform when obviously these are all left leg. These are all in the same leg area. So there's definitely something going on around there.
Additionally, a lot of people think that this isn't just a case of Caitlin getting hurt on a random play. Instead, they think that she's been playing through an injury for days or weeks and just made it worse against the Storm. To be honest, there are a few strong arguments for why fans are supporting this theory. First, the stats show that Caitlin hasn't just looked cold off since that brutal game against Connecticut where she was roughed up. She's gone 1 for 23 from deep over the last few games, which isn't a slump but rather a warning sign.
So if you guys did not see, in this game right here, against the New York Liberty, she's doesn't have anything strapped up. And people are saying her quad was strapped up against Connecticut Sun. That is a very high strapping up for a quad.
And this is where fans, especially Stephanie White, are going crazy over the Fever because if Caitlin was indeed playing injured all this time, it means she was rushed back.
You guys rushed her back. And within rushing her back, she re-injured that same quad. And then you rushed her back again. And then within rushing her back, she was forced to put pressure and put stress on different areas surrounding that quad. That leads us to our most recent groin injury.
It's true that when one part of your body isn't working properly, you start shifting pressure to other muscles and joints to compensate, which leads to even more injuries. For that reason, when fans noticed Caitlin wearing that heavy wrap around her leg after her return, it became clear that she shouldn't have returned at all. Speaking of which, let's go back to the Storm game because this is the moment that has fans furious. White, Stephanie.
This one's on the coach. This one seems to be on the coach.
When you consider that Caitlin was put back into the game with 8 seconds remaining, you start to doubt Stephanie White's judgment because at some point it stops being about guts and starts being about risk management. At this point, many fans believe the Fever and their coach failed that test. Sure, maybe Caitlyn asked to go back in, maybe she was trying to break out of her slump, but with 16 seconds remaining and the game already in hand, the coach's job is to protect the player, especially this player.
Caitlin Clark clearly not looking like herself. The Indiana Fever has the game put away, yet we still put her back in the game at 45 seconds left. Caitlin Clark dealing with an injury, not looking like herself. The game is already out of hand, yet we still put her back in with 45 seconds left. How much patience do I need to have before I can start going nuclear? Because I am getting very frustrated with what I am seeing.
And this is where fans are really beginning to worry because it's becoming more and more obvious that Caitlin Clark isn't being managed the way she should be. She has an intense competitive drive that drives her to play and support the team. She knows that the entire WNBA is watching her, not just Indiana, but the entire league, and she's carrying the weight of everything, even if she doesn't talk about it. That's precisely the problem when you have someone who pushes through pain who never wants to sit and feels accountable for a team and a league. If she keeps playing hurt, it could eventually be more than just a missed game or two.
I just wonder if she's playing through a little more pain than she should. I mean, look what happened to Tyrese Halliburton in the NBA Finals game when he tore his Achilles heel. He had also mentioned having some pain there, and this was like the pinnacle of his career. So he attempted to play through that, and at the very end, he went down.
And that's what makes all of this even more concerning because, only a year ago, it seemed unthinkable that Caitlin Clark would miss so much time. She played through every game that was part of her legend at Iowa, but now she's missed almost half of the season, and it's all related to what appears to be a persistent problem with the same leg that's clearly affecting her performance and could bother her for the duration of the season or longer if left untreated.
There's something going on. Is it the nagging quad injury? But it's something to do with the lower half of her body. It is a groin injury. Now we've got an idea of why she's struggling from long range where it requires, some real push on three-point shots, especially the kind that she takes. And there's nothing worse than a groin injury. It will nag the shit out of you. Trust me, I've had several.
We have repeatedly witnessed it. Vanderloot, Courtney Watkins, Guju, Brink, Cameron. The list of well-known female athletes who have suffered from severe knee injuries is lengthy and tragic. An ACL tear is more than just a setback. It may kill a season and ruin a career. Here is the worst-case scenario. Imagine Caitlin Clark suffering an ACL tear during garbage time during that Storm game, already playing with a leg that was obviously weakened. It would not only be a tragedy for her, but it would also be remembered as the most tactical blunder in WNBA history. We're talking about a moment that could have put the league back 10 years. All the momentum, new fans, and record-breaking ratings vanished in an instant, and that's not hyperbole because the hard truth is that no player has ever been more important to the league's future than Caitlin Clark is right now. If you think I'm exaggerating, wait until you hear how devastating this is for other players in a few minutes. To be clear, this isn't just on the Fever fans. Analysts are now blaming the league itself for how things got so bad because the officiating has been terrible and has contributed significantly to the entire mess.
But the thing that you have to be careful of is if, say, you try to rush her back from this injury as well, then you're getting into this territory where a very serious injury can happen. And with women as well, we are more prone to knee injuries even than the men because of the angle that our hips go to our knees. So the last thing you want is her compensating or her groin not firing properly and she goes to cut to the side and then all of a sudden something blows in her knee. That is what the Indiana Fever, that is what Caitlin need to avoid the best that they possibly can. So if it means that Caitlin is out for 3 weeks, if it means that she is out all the way through All-Star, then so be it. She has such a long career.
It's no secret that the Fever have been repeatedly given the short end of the stick this season, and nowhere is that more evident than when it comes to Caitlin Clark. While fans have been raising the alarm for weeks, the game against the Sun was the turning point because it wasn't just the now famous eye poke or the body check that infuriated fans, it was everything that led up to that point.
Like, they just kept shoving Caitlin. They're like, well, they can't just keep calling fouls. I'm like, they're literally just running around hacking her. The referees have made it like a point that this is how you beat the Fever. You hack them. You don't even, it's not being physical. You just hack them. Because the referees are going to allow them to be hacked.
Although we can argue about missed calls against Caitlin Clark and the Fever, it appears that this level of physicality is ingrained in the WNBA because it affects the entire league, not just Indiana.
This is JC Sheldon right here with an entire handful of Caitlin Clark's shoulder and bicep, and she's twisting it. Okay? I mean, this is wild. Here's the zoomed out look, the snapshot. I mean, this league does not have control of its players.
When coaches design their game plans around physicality because the league won't enforce its own rules, players are harmed, and it's not only Caitlin Jade. That's not simply a coaching ploy, it's an admission that the referees aren't doing their jobs. There is no exaggeration when I say that Melbourne of the Mystics literally lost her tooth due to an unnecessary elbow during the writing of this script. This is just another reminder that when the league puts player safety last and lets them play, the consequences are real. This has been going on for years, but now it's threatening the one player who is saving the league on her own. If you want to get really serious about it, here's something that many fans are pointing out. Caitlin Clark gained a substantial amount of muscle during the off-season. The cockiness on the pitch, the added bulk. It was a big storyline heading into the season, but the reason she had to bulk up was because she was taking a beating last year. The message was clear: if you're going to survive in this league, you better build armor. But here's the twist: when you rapidly add muscle, especially in your core and legs, it can mess with your mechanics. Your stride changes, your lift on shots changes, and most importantly, your risk of injury increases if your movement patterns haven't adapted fully yet. So yeah, maybe if the league encouraged officials to actually enforce the rules, she wouldn't have had to build herself into a linebacker just to make it through a season. Maybe if the league toned down the physicality a bit, instead of treating it like a selling point, we wouldn't be on the edge of another Caitlin Clark injury spiral.
Coach told me we tell our players to be as physical as they can possibly be for 40 minutes because we know for 38 of them, they're pretty much going to get away with it. So I think everybody would like to see a tighter whistle and a little bit more freedom of movement.
And just to be clear, nobody's arguing Caitlin Clark should be immune from contact. Toughness is part of the game. That's basketball, that's sports, yet there's a massive difference between playing tough defense and deliberately disregarding obvious fouls or letting dirty plays go. Fans are not requesting special treatment. Rather, they are demanding basic rule enforcement, and it begins when the referees call the foul call. The league is then responsible for supporting this, identifying the players who cross the line, suspending repeat offenders, and setting a standard. However, it also begins with something more basic. Respect for the star who is not only advancing the game but also providing for everyone's needs, whether they want to acknowledge it or not. It's kind of mind-boggling that none of this has been handled, because what comes next is going to be terrible again. Caitlin Clark is the rising tide that's lifting all boats, and if you look at other leagues like the NBA or the NHL, stars get protected.
Does make me wonder if a player like SGA can get all these fouls called, maybe the refs should call them similarly for Caitlin. Because if the players defending Clark know that they're going to get a whistle every time they hand check her or cover her physically, they will probably do it a lot less. And I get it, you're trying to neutralize this player, but you know, we've entered the realm of player safety here, and Caitlin Clark, who has now gone out for a third time, so I think that this needs to be reassessed.
When Caitlin Clark is absent, viewership pauses, ratings plummet, and social engagement abruptly stops. The WNBA feels quiet, but when she returns, things take off, and it's all due to moments like these. It's gotten to the point where it's no longer even a debate anymore. It's a measurable pattern.
And it's also a huge blow to the WNBA. Whether some fans like it or not, it was proven the last time that she was out with injury that the WNBA does better when she is on the court. The WNBA ratings across the league dropped by over 50% when Caitlin Clark was out with injury, and this is obviously such a crucial time and a crucial year for the league because they go into CBA negotiations at the end of the year.
People flocked to the arena and their screens when Caitlin was on the floor, making her return against the Liberty more than just a feel-good moment. The game averaged 2.2 million viewers and peaked at 2.8 million, making it one of the highest-rated games in WNBA history. However, as the numbers continue to plummet, there is a genuine chance that it will get worse. Caitlin misses the Commissioner Cup final, a major event that is supposed to increase league excitement and revenue. Even worse, she might miss the All-Star game, which would be a complete ratings disaster. For the players, the stakes aren't just about exposure, they're about real money. Even if Caitlyn misses just one of those events, the players could lose millions of dollars in potential advertising dollars, bonuses, merchandise, and momentum. This isn't just about the Fever. The league is now gambling with its biggest ticket, and fans are aware of this.
Nerve, the second-year players clearing out that side of the floor, shooting on Stewie, and then watch the reaction with one another. Stewie's laughing. Caitlyn knows it's ridiculous. Just out there having a good time.
If WNBA players believe they have any leverage left after a second Caitlyn Clark hiatus, they are deluding themselves. Owners won't give in to pressure because they know that Caitlyn Clark drives everything. The ratings, the merchandise, the media buzz, and when she's off the court, the numbers plummet. Her first injury put an end to player leverage, and the league's most absurd aspect is that the players still don't seem to understand it, but Caitlyn's fans do.
I need to get in the field. You need to come to the meetings. I gotta get in the meetings because I'm hearing like, yeah, they don't give us. If y'all don't give us what we want, like, we sit out. That's a possibility for real.
And that's what makes all of this even more concerning because only a year ago, it seemed unthinkable that Caitlyn Clark would miss so much time. She played through every game that was part of her legend at Iowa, but now she's missed almost half of the season. And it's all related to what appears to be a persistent problem with the same leg that's clearly affecting her performance and could bother her for the duration of the season or longer if left untreated.
This groin injury and how much of an absence do you expect from her beyond today?
Yeah, late last night. I think it's very much a day-to-day thing, how she responds to treatment. I stay in my lane and let our
Who gives a shit how she responds to treatment? Keep her out for a week. Keep her out for a week or two. Let's make sure she's healthy. 110%, 150%.
The trust has been lost as of right now. It may sound gentle to urge the referees to stop giving cheap shots or to suggest that Caitlyn deserves some protection, but even the haters should ask themselves, do you really want a league without her? A league that punishes its biggest star on the court and a team that refuses to protect her even when she is obviously in pain is not only failing Caitlyn Clark, it is also endangering the future of the women's game. Thank you for watching, and if you're still here, please leave a basketball in the comments. I'll see you next. Subscribe my Chanel Clark Facts.